In recent years, Somalia has increasingly become a food deficit country. The Horn of Africa nation suffered one of the worst famines in the early 1990s, killing thousands. Since then, 2 decades of conflict have created a situation of protracted and complex humanitarian emergency, which has eroded livelihoods and led to increased vulnerability to food insecurity. In 2008, the rise in global food prices, inadequate rainfall, and population displacement due to civil conflict greatly deteriorated Somalia's food security situation.
Somalia is a very peculiar country. It's a country where it has an incredible strong trading capacity. People are doing business all across the country. And that's clearly create a very competitive environment. It creates the opportunity for this trader to import food even in a country which traditionally is in a food deficit, which are positive side of the story. Unfortunately, when situation happens to be like in the case of 2008, where the food price increased all around the world, that creates conditions for which the transmission of this increase of food price will get immediately transmitted to a country like Somalia.
In swift response to the global food crisis, the European Union announced a €1 billion food facility to boost agricultural productivity in 28 countries. In Somalia, the United Nations Food Agricultural Organization was to support 70,000 farmers, especially in the south-central agricultural regions. The European Union has been at the forefront of the food crisis response to help bridge the gap between the short-term emergency relief and longer-term development support. In 2009, FAO began carrying out projects worth €228 million, approximately $314 million in 28 countries in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean through the EU Food Facility. Somalia is largely a semi-arid country, and farmers traditionally rely on rainfall and irrigation from tapping seasonal rivers for subsistence food production. They survive from one harvest to another, increasing their vulnerability to erratic, unpredictable weather and other external factors.
haddaan waraabino lacag fiican baan ka helaynaa haddaan waraabsano lacag fiican baan ka helaynaa annaguna shaqaalaana waxa faa'iidaan ka helaynaa waraabinta beerta way u fiican tahay marka in la waraabiyo maal annaguna ka faa'iideysanayna maal reerkan u shaqaynayno faa'iida ka helayaan
In Somalia, the Food Agricultural Organization helped rehabilitate 985 kilometers of irrigation canals to guarantee access to much-needed water for cultivation through cash for work employing 2,800 people. Farmers also received improved and drought-tolerant seeds as well as training on marketing the surplus harvest. In a move to mechanize Somalia's agriculture, farmers, most of whom still relied on traditional practices, were given access to 20 tractors and received training on the farm. The construction of 15 markets and rehabilitation of 450 kilometers of road in Juba and Shabelle regions greatly facilitated marketing and trade of surplus agricultural products.
The outcome of the project is an expansion in the planted area, which is now estimated around 46,000 hectares. due to the rehabilitation of over 75 kilometers of main canals and over 900 kilometers of secondary and tertiary canals. It may be too early to assess the actual impact of the project, but this package of assistance for sure will contribute a lot to boosting production.
For Hussein, a cereal farmer in Somalia's Aldal region, access to a tractor to till his land greatly reduces time and energy in preparing the land for planting.
faa'iido badan ayay leedahay waxa weeyaan beertu way qodantay hadii ilaahay raxmaadka caawa ilaahay roobka igu shubo de sarci baa faa'iido badan baa igu jirta waxay leedahay sarci haruurkii galeydii waxaan ku yiri faa'iido badan bay leedahay cagafta ay leedahay laga horimaado waxa weeyaan cagafto kale way nagu yaraa.
Under the EU Food Facility Programme, FAO targeted 60,000 people, but the 2-year project reached 118,000 farmers and increased food supply in south-central Somalia. Though challenges to food security remain daunting, FAO believes that continued support to farmers through short-term interventions with long-term goals will go a long way to improving livelihoods in the Horn of Africa nation.
The food facility was an incredibly courageous and brave initiative of the European Union, just at the back of a crisis where nobody had really great idea or clear idea on how to handle it. If you look at the current crisis in 2011 that we are experiencing right now, Africa is the continent with the lowest increase in food prices, although they're already very high, just because of the increase in production. And Somalia was benefiting probably more than the others. We had an incredible capacity through the food facility to increase the productive capacity of the country and to have, when the rain allowed us, like the last good season in 2010, to have an incredible better production compared to previous years with the same type of rainy season, which clearly proved that investing in agriculture pays back.
The result of it is probably the most interesting, and we were surprised ourselves of how much we were able to improve with this project, because the production in 2009, if I'm not wrong, was one of the best in the 15 years of Somalia. That meant not only that the capacity is there, but it can with a project like this one, can easily help this capacity to come to very good production. And this is why we are really convinced that a second phase is necessary, and also is a good investment for the European Union. It's money well spent, because the idea is to stop with food distribution and to have Somali to eat their own food produced in Somalia more and more.